Hey girl, what's up?
Hi, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good?
Oh my God, long time no see. How's
Yeah. Can you
everything?
hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good.
How's it?
Um, yeah, how's life, Like how's college?
Stressful?
Yeah. Me too. It's just so much like work and online stuff. Like it's like a
Yeah.
whole different ballpark than like if we were
I,
doing it traditional or whatever.
uh, can't wait for December break already. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
All right then. Do you want to start?
Yeah, just let me know what the questions are and I'll just start talking.
Oh, okay. Hold on. There's this thing you have to read out. I don't know if you got the email
The
about.
statement of consent.
Yeah,
You want me to read that out loud? Or
yeah. Just like skip over like the parts with like the parentheses, but like say the date and stuff.
okay, so hi. Today I'm being asked to participate in an interview surrounding the topic of education. I'll be asked to send photographs of myself via email to Nashita before my interview. I will be asked to answer 3 questions, prepare ahead of time during the interview. I will also be asked to be photographed after the interview, and my participation should take approximately 15 minutes. You
Um,
want me to read the rest, or is that
yeah, I think that's good.
okay? Cool.
Okay. First question. Tell me about a time you experienced your biggest change in your education journey.
I think the biggest change would have to be right now during the pandemic. I would have never thought that we would be online. To be honest, I would never have expected some of my teachers to actually figure out how to work a computer. So just being online has been the biggest change.
What do you think is like different about like online uh education more than traditional education?
Well, in traditional education, I think it's more social, and I think it depends. Like right now, some people are thriving with online school and some people like
Yeah.
me aren't really thriving. So I think it also depends on who you are, but traditional school is much better for those who are social and who like to be in person and have those face-to-face connections, while online it's kind of like just send me an email, or it's whatever, don't worry about it. It doesn't feel as like online school
Mhm.
doesn't seem like it's as much pressure, but
Mhm.
it's more added pressure in the end.
So you say there's a like sort of like a disconnect between the teacher and the student, which might
Yes.
not be like the best thing for your education.
Yep.
Cool. Um, so the next question is tell me about a time a teacher or professor changed your perception of the world.
Um, I would say an hour ago. So I had a meeting with my English teacher about one of my responses to one of our homeworks, and he was
Right.
talking about how like my writing style is good. It's just where my grammar lacks. And
Yeah.
I've never been like crazy over grammar. I'm not a huge English person, but like I
Hmm.
do worry about my grades and whatnot. But like he started to talk about conjunctions and all these things and grammar rules and verbs and nouns, and it just put into
Yeah.
perspective that there's so many rules when it comes to English, and just knowing that people have to learn a second language, coming like our parents had to learn a second language
Right,
coming
right.
here. It's kind of crazy to know that they could do it, and there's so much more we have to learn about a language that we think is so easy, since we grew up
Yeah.
speaking English. So I think that really opened my mind.
So you're saying that by having this different perspective, a more technical perspective on English, you've been more appreciative of the language?
I think so. I think that well, not appreciative. I
Yeah.
think that it just
Okay.
means more work for me. But I do
Yeah.
think that it's interesting to know that we just know surface level English. We don't know like where some
Hmm.
words came from and whatnot. So yeah.
Oh, okay. Um, so my last question is tell me about a time you had to make a change in your education journey.
A change would have to be the pandemic, obviously.
Right.
I think that starting like I have migraines, so being
Hmm.
on the computer already is like hard enough because headaches, they're not the best when you're on the phone for long hours, but
Yeah.
having to have that additional time of like sitting in a Zoom class and just looking at a screen for like an
Hmm.
hour is a lot for like someone like me who suffers from migraines. Like it's not
Right,
fun.
right.
And we have
I
and like
understand.
yeah. So I think that's like one of the biggest things I have to like work around, but also people who are like anxious and like
Mhm.
having that little screen to look at yourself while you're talking is
Right,
something
right,
we
right.
would never have to deal with when we're in school. So I think that new perspective has caused a lot of anxieties as well.
I would say to further add upon the screen and stuff, like when you're taking an exam, sometimes you have to use like a lockdown browser or
Mhm.
something, or where the proctor might see your
Right.
testings, and like that could cause some anxiety and stuff. And I think
Yeah.
it's really important to like make light of that and like have communication between the teacher and the student about that, and any other maybe possible mental health issues they're going through while in this pandemic, you know.
Right, right.
Do you have anything else to say about your education journey so far?
I hate online school. That's about
I
it.
understand. Yeah, I think that's it, really.
All right.